This is Bill Keller, founder of Liveprayer.com, the 9/11 Christian Center at Ground Zero. And as you can see, we are overlooking Ground Zero. It's a very special honor for me today to have a man who is a true hero, a New York firefighter who was part of that infamous scene back on 9/11, 2001. And we're here overlooking Ground Zero so he can share with you an incredible testimony, not only of faith, but a testimony of God's sustaining power. It's my privilege to introduce to you Vincent Forras, New York Fire Department. And Vincent, I just want you to share with the audience, first of all, kind of a little bit of who you are, what your occupation was that day, and how this area is never going to be forgotten in your mind.
Yeah, never will. And first, thank you for coming to my neck of the woods, and welcome to what I consider for me holy ground. And for me, 9/11 was a day very similar to today, a very blue, beautiful sky. And I was both a businessman and a volunteer firefighter up in Westchester County. I had been for 15 years. And when this first call came in, we thought it was a small plane crash like everyone else. And then once the second one hit, we knew we were under attack. And it was my privilege to respond along with the rest of the guys. Many of my dear friends who died that day on FDNY are probably looking down on us from heaven. And we're a little bit closer here because we're up on top of a pretty nice sized roof overlooking Ground Zero. And it's such an honor to have you share this with me, because very few people actually get to stand here or film here. And because of what you're doing, I feel honored to participate. And I responded. It's called answering the call, and it's what we're called to in life in many ways. Whether you're a plumber, a firefighter, a policeman, a reverend, whatever your calling is, if you respond with your heart and all of your feelings, what you are, that's a blessing from God that He allows us to do these things. And so that was my privilege to answer the call. And when I did arrive at Ground Zero, our first effort was to hopefully rescue people that could be trapped. And so my efforts were to be crawling down very tight beams, confined space rescue, which I was trained very well in. I was no fear of that kind of thing until it collapsed on me. And I found myself trapped in what felt like just the hollow of a beam. And it was in the middle of the night. It was pitch black. I couldn't move. I was trapped like a cork. And your body goes through and your mind goes through a lot of different things, and panic and such. And I had the feeling that I was going to die. The heat was radiating up from beneath Ground Zero. It was literally hell. I think that's what hell could be like. Until the time that I prayed to God. And at that moment, when I prayed to God and asked Him to please let my children know that what I was doing here was good, that I was trying to help other people, and just please find me so my kids have somebody, to hug in the end, and I'm ready to go. Like, it was this feeling of peace that came over me, that God was with me. And I knew He didn't come from afar. He's inside of us. That's the moment I knew. But what really was the revelation was actually the gift of holding my infant babies in my hands beneath that rubble. Like you and I are standing here right now, it's that real. I could touch them. I felt them naked, and I could smell the baby smell of my children, which is the most beautiful smell in the world. And for those who are watching this and feeling what I'm saying, who were at Ground Zero, you know that the smell of Ground Zero was the worst, horrible smell of death that permeated everything. So that every sense of me told me this was real, that God was with me. And He somehow told me to go deeper down, go deeper into hell to get out. And I did. And I felt my way around. I had a watch on me that had a compass on it. I knew that I was towards the South Tower, which is pretty much this side of the site. Where I was trapped is directly over my shoulder. And after 2 hours, I didn't get myself out. God lit the way. And I walked out of a lobby in this building right next to us here, and I crawled up the stairs and I opened the side doors, and all the lights, the rescue lights of Ground Zero, were shining at that door. So that was the light that I went to. And with everything I am and everything I know more than anything after that horrible tragedy where so much death happened, that God never left my side. And the fact that I merely had to turn to him for comfort, for guidance, lets me know that after this, there's something so much greater. Not that I'm looking forward to it, but I have no fear after this of going.
You know, my friends, I don't know what you're going through today. I don't know what your trials or tribulations may be, what your circumstances are, but I do know this. Just like this brave hero next to me, the same God that sustained him through those hours and led him to the light is the same God that will sustain you and lead you to the light of his love. So all I can do is implore you as we stand here today by this hallowed ground, this sacred ground, this holy ground, know that God, the same God that sustained Vincent Forras that day, that we will never forget, is the very same God who will sustain you today.